What if I told you that almost every important decision you've ever made began with emotion, not logic? You may believe you think rationally. You may believe your choices are guided by reason, facts, and careful analysis. But according to the Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene, the human mind works very differently. Long before logic enters the picture, emotion has already influenced the outcome. The first law of human nature is this: we are all more irrational than we realize. The greatest mistake is believing that irrationality only affects other people. The moment you recognize it within yourself, you gain the power to think more clearly and make wiser decisions. Why humans are irrational. Robert Greene explains that the human brain evolved for survival, not objective thinking. Our ancestors had to react instantly to danger, and those rapid emotional responses helped keep them alive. Although modern life has changed dramatically, our emotional wiring has not. Today, criticism, rejection, uncertainty, failure, or embarrassment can trigger the same survival mechanisms that once protected us from physical threats. When emotions take over, clear thinking becomes difficult, and poor decisions become far more likely. The source of irrationality. Unchecked emotion is the greatest source of irrational behavior. Strong emotions narrow our perspective, distort reality, and convince us that our current feelings represent absolute truth. Some of the strongest emotional triggers include anger, fear, anxiety, envy, pride, insecurity, desire for approval, need for control, loneliness, resentment, overconfidence. Each of these emotions quietly shapes our thinking before logic has a chance to intervene. Emotional biases. Greene identifies several mental patterns that repeatedly distort human judgment. Confirmation bias causes us to search for information that supports our existing beliefs while ignoring evidence that challenges them. Overconfidence makes success dangerous, convincing us that we are incapable of making mistakes. Group mentality encourages people to follow the crowd instead of thinking independently. Self-serving bias leads us to credit ourselves for success while blaming others for failure. Tunnel vision limits our ability to see alternatives whenever emotions become intense. Together, these biases quietly influence countless everyday decisions. The inner shadow. Every person carries hidden emotions and desires they would rather ignore. These suppressed feelings eventually surface through sudden anger, passive-aggressive behavior, jealousy, revenge, self-sabotage. The more aware you become of these hidden emotions, the less control they have over your actions. The narcissistic tendency. Greene argues that everyone possesses some degree of narcissism. We naturally focus on our own opinions, experiences, and emotions. When balanced, this becomes healthy confidence, ambition, and empathy. When excessive, it becomes manipulation, entitlement, defensiveness, and an inability to accept criticism. Recognizing this tendency helps us become more humble and self-aware. Recognizing irrational people. Emotionally driven people often display predictable behaviors, constant emotional reactions, refusal to admit mistakes, blaming others, impulsive decisions, extreme certainty, frequent mood swings, personalizing criticism, seeking constant validation. Instead of reacting to these behaviors, Greene encourages us to look for the underlying emotion driving them, becoming more rational. True rationality is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to recognize emotion before acting. Greene recommends developing several habits. Notice emotional reactions before responding. Pause before making important decisions. Sleep on major choices whenever possible. Accept criticism without immediate defensiveness. Question your first interpretation of events. Separate facts from feelings. Keep a journal to identify emotional patterns. Learn from emotional mistakes. Surround yourself with people who challenge your thinking. Practice empathy by understanding the emotions of others. The power of detachment. One of Greene's most valuable lessons is learning psychological distance. Whenever emotions become overwhelming, step away. Observe your thoughts without immediately believing them. Ask yourself which emotion is influencing your judgment. Return only after your emotions have settled. Distance creates clarity. Reading other people. People constantly reveal their emotions through subtle signals. Tone of voice, facial expressions, body language, repeated complaints, sudden emotional shifts, defensive reactions. Rather than listening only to words, observe the emotions beneath them. Lessons from history. Throughout history, powerful leaders have repeatedly demonstrated the dangers of irrationality. Some were destroyed by pride, others by anger, some by greed, others by overconfidence. Those remembered most favorably were often the individuals who remained calm, patient, and emotionally disciplined during moments of enormous pressure. The lesson is simple. Intelligence alone is never enough. Without emotional control, even brilliant minds make catastrophic mistakes. Practical lessons. To become more rational. Never make major decisions while angry or overly excited. Delay emotional reactions. Listen more than you speak during conflict. Admit when emotions are influencing you. Focus on long-term consequences instead of immediate satisfaction. Build daily habits of reflection and self-awareness. Final message. Robert Greene's first law of human nature is not about eliminating emotion. Emotions are essential to being human. The real challenge is becoming aware of them before they begin directing your life. Those who master their emotions make better decisions, build stronger relationships, earn greater respect, and develop lasting influence. Rationality is not a talent you are born with. It is a lifelong discipline built through self-observation, humility, emotional control, and deliberate thinking. And in a world where most people react without thinking, the ability to remain calm and rational becomes one of the greatest competitive advantages a person can possess.